Nice win for the Utah Jazz over the Houston Rockets. Let's talk about it. It's the Hoops Nerd Show. All right, guys. So the Utah Jazz get a win tonight. You know, I'm not too bothered because the way they won is the way you want to win these games this season. It was with the young guys balling out. And, you know, this Rockets team, they did not have Fred VanVleet. They're really slumping lately. No Tari Eason, no Fred VanVleet. So, and this Rockets team, and maybe it's missing Fred VanVleet, but they are, in the last 10, they're like 3-7, now 3-8. In their last 11, I guess, or 2-8, whatever it is they are. They're slumping, but this is still a very good Rockets team that was absolutely dominant defensively to start the year and for most of the season, and it's why they're still so high in the standings. I mean, the Rockets right now still stand at, like, look at that. The top team is Cleveland. They're like 7 spots away from the top record in the league. So this is an impressive win for the Utah Jazz against a very good Rockets team. Just a little bit about the Rockets. I love Thompson. We were talking on the live stream about who my favorite player is outside of the Jazz, and I think it really is Thompson. I wanted him so badly in the draft, and I was so jealous of the Rockets getting him. You know, they didn't get Wembanyama, but Thompson has sure been an incredible consolation prize for Rockets fans. What an incredible player. Tonight, he was even knocking down his threes, 2 for 3 from 3 tonight, 22 points, 9 rebounds, 2 assists. He is just awesome. And we're not even close to the peak of his powers. I mean, there's a world where he's kind of like prime Kawhi defensively, and I don't know what he becomes offensively, but man, is he a player that you would love to have on your team going forward. Just kind of the ultimate, you know, what's it called? Pocket knife player, where utility knife, whatever it is. It's some sort of knife that cuts through the defense and dunks the ball and blocks shots and gets steals and does all the things. He is fantastic. You love having a player like that. And the athleticism is just through the roof. It is incredible. So it's nice for the Rockets fans to have such a nice player in him. For the Utah Jazz, they win this game. This will now, in fact, let's refresh this. This will now tie them up, at least in the win column, with the Charlotte Hornets. Yep, there you go. But Utah has the lead on them with these losses. Utah is it's gonna be close to end this season because this team just keeps getting better, and we're seeing these young players play more and more and better, and we're starting to see them start to put some really nice performances together. And this is without Jordan Clarkson. This is without Colin Sexton. Lauri Markkanen, he played better at the end and hit some shots at the end, but he was like 1 for 8 at one point, is not playing particularly great. He did play well to end the game, though. And so to have these young players win this game with Lauri Markkanen not playing well is pretty impressive stuff. This is against the Rockets team that, you know, they didn't have VanVleet, they didn't have Tari Eason, but they had everyone else. You know, Şengün was out there, and then both teams were on the back end of a back-to-back. So this is an impressive win, and it's, you know, it's a win you got to be happy about. It's the young guys developing, young guys showing out. Let's just go through it. We talked about Markkanen a little bit. Ends up with a nice night, 23 points, 10 rebounds, +2 in this one. Ends up 8 for 19 and 3 for 10, which is much better than what he started. Holy smokes, was he bad to start. But he finishes strong, and that's what matters. And so it's interesting. 4 for 4 from the free throw line. Nice to see him kind of turn it around. You know, I don't know what you take from this season from Lauri Markkanen because it's been a downturn. 3 for 10 from 3. He's at 34% from 3 for the season. Not great, but, you know, it could be that it's just because, you know, the Jazz are developing. But at a certain point, you would think that he would be scoring and playing efficiently regardless of who's giving him the ball. And you can't really blame Collier because Collier's taken over the guard spot and is assisting the ball at a high level. 10 assists again tonight for Isaiah Collier. So I don't know. It's just something to watch. We'll see what happens this offseason. I'm guessing that, you know, the Jazz owner wants to keep him. I don't know what Danny Ainge would do if we gave him some truth serum, but something to watch for the rest of the season. KJ Martin got the start tonight. By the way, one thing that's really cool about having KJ Martin on the Jazz is now Kenyon Martin is at all the games. And I'll be honest, I don't know if anyone out there is pulling off both cool and tough at the level that Kenyon Martin does. If you're watching the game, he's got those sunglasses. I don't know. That is not a dude you're messing with. And man, and you just think about Kenyon Martin, senior or whatever, when he was in the NBA and just an athletic beast, physical, imposing player that he was. And KJ Martin, he's not as big as his dad, but man, does he have the athleticism. Holy smokes. It's palpable. And I love having him on the Jazz. I love having a player like that with that level of athleticism. What is his, how big is he? 6'6". I mean, he is not small. And so when you combine his size and his athleticism, this is definitely a player. I love bringing this type of player onto the Jazz and just letting them develop and see what you got. Maybe you get something. Utah is so lacking in defensive talent. And if you're bringing guys on the floor that are 6'6" with just honestly jump through the roof athleticism, you can do worse. And that is a great way to improve the athleticism and defensive ability of your team. At worst, you're making plays, and that's what he does. And, if you're building an NBA team, you're trying to get the most talent out there. But one of the most transcendent things on an NBA court that you can always count on impacting a game is just elite athleticism. When in doubt, like when you're drafting outside of like the lottery, if you've got guys in the late first round that are just incredible athletes, I will always lean towards getting the athlete, because then at least you know that if they develop into something skill-wise and you combine that with that athleticism, that's when you get players that really transcend and win you games. And so I love having KJ Martin on the team. We'll see what happens, how he plays. But tonight, 5 for 9. The three-point shot does not look great. That is the one thing. So he'll need to develop that, and maybe he can, and then the Jazz get a steal, But 5 for 9, incredible athleticism. He was a +6. And I tell you what, you start to see some defensive impact with guys like that. You put someone like KJ Martin with that athleticism, you put him on the floor with Walker Kessler, I think Isaiah Collier is underrated defensively. He shows up pretty well on D. LeBron. Considering how bad the Jazz are, those advanced defensive numbers, I think there's a sign that Isaiah Collier has a chance to turn into a nice, positive defensive player. And so if you have like 3 positive defensive players on the floor, all of a sudden you shouldn't be surprised if they start improving defensively. And that's one of the questions I have for Lauri Markkanen at some point. And we talked about this yesterday's show. If you want, you can go watch it. But we talked about one of the biggest correlations to winning championships and being a winning playoff and championship caliber basketball team is you've got to be top 5 offense, but you have to be top 5 defense. You have to be top 10 minimum, and if you can, top 5. And if you are a top 5 defensive team, you are going to win a lot of basketball games. Because when you're top 5 defensively, you're rebounding the ball, you're getting into transition, you're creating easier buckets in the long run. If you're a terrible defensive basketball team, it's really hard to be a great offensive team because you're always in the half-court offense. When you are always just taking the ball out and passing it in and going down and in half-court sets, you're going to struggle because the half-court defense is much easier to do than transition defense. And so if you have an elite defense, you are going to get easier buckets. But if you have a terrible defense like the Jazz do, it's tough to score. And it's why a win like tonight is pretty impressive stuff, and why we should not discount that when we're looking at these young players for Utah, because they're a bad defensive team. And so to get a win like tonight, when Utah is a terrible defensive team, they're doing most of their work in the half court, and then to have an efficient night like tonight in this kind of half court set, you can see why you should be pretty excited about some of the things we're seeing. Now, it's part of the reason why I kind of feel like, I know people turn off the channel and stop listening. It's why I think, Lauri Markkanen grades out as a bad defender, and hopefully he can get to maybe he can improve, but I think there's just some faults there as a player that he has that are just, it's tough. He's not very laterally quick. It makes it really tough for him to be an elite defender. And so it's tough. We'll see what happens. I think the future is going to be really interesting for Utah. They're going to get a top 5 pick who is going to be a really nice player. And you combine that with some of these young guys, you can see how exciting this is going to be for Jazz fans and for the Jazz in general. All right, I think the 2 best players on the floor tonight were Keyonte George and Walker Kessler. Walker Kessler is rebounding like a monster. Tonight, 17 rebounds. He was awesome against Şengün. Şengün tonight could not impact the game in like an elite way. I mean, he took 24 shots to score 27 points on Kessler. I mean, that's pretty great by Walker Kessler guarding their all-star center in Şengün. Walker Kessler's just really good, and you can't say otherwise. Now, how good is he? Well, he's a high point, which is what you wanted to see. Offensively, he's doing well enough, 5 for 5. And if he can just make sure he improves his free throw shooting tonight, 1 for 3, not great. That's one thing he's just got to, if he can become a high level, like a 75% free throw shooter, then you're golden. Then you've got yourself your starting center for the next 10 years. But he kind of has to do that. But overall, great stuff from Walker Kessler. Inside, crushing it. He gets so many offensive rebounds. He's just so solid. And, next year he's just going to be really good. There's just no question. Walker Kessler next year is going to be really good. Bryce Sensabaugh got the start tonight, and he started off pretty terrible, but he hit some big shots at the end. Ended up improving. He was like 0 for 8 to start. And so then you can kind of see that he ended up making his last 5 out of 7 or whatever it is. And he hit a big 3 at the end there. I don't know what to think about Bryce Sensabaugh. Bryce Sensabaugh has got to also become an elite defender because things are going to, Utah gets 2 more draft picks next year or this draft, and they're going to be good players. This is a good draft, and especially their top pick. And one of the things that I love about this Jazz team is it's a meritocracy. And Will Hardy, if you're playing well, he lets you play. And I love it. But the other side of that coin is if you're not playing well or if you're not defending, it's not going to be long before you find a lot of players taking your spot. I mean, look at this. KJ Martin got the start tonight, and he defended, and he is an elite athlete. And so Bryce Sensabaugh, who can shoot the ball, we know he can shoot it, but you have got to defend. You have got to make smart decisions. You've got to handle the ball and not turn it over. Utah cannot, if you're going to, defense wins championships, but the teams that don't turn the ball over as much and value every possession, you're going to turn the ball over. It's just a fact. You're going to turn the ball over at least 12 times a game. That's just going to happen. But if you can keep it between 12 and 16 a game, that's elite. And then you're not turning the ball over. And Bryce Sensabaugh, tonight only 1 turnover, but he's been pretty turnover prone. And so he's got to just improve because guess what? If Utah, Yegor Demon is dropping in the draft for some reason. If Yegor Demon is there for Utah with the Minnesota Timberwolves pick, how incredible would that be? You know what I mean? And he's 6'9". Utah's going to get to the point where they're not going to have a lot of small guys on the floor. They keep drafting big, long players. Cody Williams, for example, Taylor Hendricks. You are having athletes that can shoot and defend, and you can see the trend with Utah. And if Utah wins the lottery and gets Cooper Flagg, and you add him to the floor, you have another guy with the Minnesota Timberwolves pick, you can bet Utah's going to get a tall, athletic player. You got to prove it, and, the guys that are good stay, and the other guys will either just not end up making it or get traded. So it is what it is. It's a tough world, but that's how you win championships. Isaiah Collier, he struggled as well to shoot the ball. That's what's crazy is Utah had some guys that really struggled to start the game shooting it, and then the Jazz just closed big and hard. He was like 1 for 8 to start because I kind of watch it while we're watching the games, and then he ends up playing strong to end the game. He had that big layup at the end. But the thing that I love about Collier, whether he's shooting the ball well, whether he's impacting, whether things are falling for him, he's still figuring it out as a player. He is so raw, guys. He is so raw. He has so much refinement to do, which is actually why it's really exciting. Jason Kidd is a player that I'm not saying Isaiah Collier is Jason Kidd, but maybe we should start thinking a little bit, because Jason Kidd learned how to shoot the three and he was just such a talented passer. And, Isaiah Collier's kind of got that similar kind of mold. He is just a gifted passer. Tonight, whether he's shooting the ball well or not, 10 assists. It's becoming like clockwork every night, double-digit assists. Unbelievable. In fact, it makes me want to look at this. Since Isaiah Collier, and I've been looking a lot at this, because what we're seeing is not normal. This is special stuff. Let's see. Let's go to the game log here. Look at this. This doesn't include tonight, but look at these assist numbers. 10, 11, 13, 9, 10, 9, 8, 12. He is consistently putting up big-time assist numbers. And then when you go, like what he's doing right now is remarkable. And then you go to the stats page, and we did this last time, but I'm going to do it again because I don't care. Let's see all player stats. If he's doing this, averaging 10 assists per game, that puts him... Wait, let's go not totals. Let's do per game. Come on, NBA. No one does totals. Look at this. If he's averaging 10 assists per game, that puts him like in the second or third spot in the NBA. It's crazy. Nikola Jokic is just like, you're in the same realm as Nikola Jokic. Are you serial? Unbelievable. 10.2. That makes him better than Cade. That puts him above LeBron James, James Harden, Halliburton, Paul. I mean, that's crazy stuff. What we are seeing is not normal. It's not normal. I hope everyone appreciates what Isaiah Collier is doing, because it's awesome. Yes, he needs to improve, but he is so raw, guys. His game right now is just pure vision, passing, feel. He's getting to he's so fast. Like, it's like 100 miles an hour. And the fact that he's going 100 miles an hour, getting to the basket, scoring, and still finding open guys and running the offense. What happens when things slow down a little bit and he can just take a set shot and knock down a three? What happens if he has a little floater game that he can rely on, or a little pull-up mid-range? I mean, we talked about Amen Thompson. That shot that Amen Thompson, I don't know if you guys saw that game winner against the Celtics that Thompson took, where he gets the ball in the inbound and just kind of bumps his guy off and takes a little free throw line jumper. Why can't Collier do the same thing? Absolutely. He has the strength and speed to do it. He's not as big as Thompson, but man, is he strong, and man, is he fast. And he's also getting steals. Like, I guess tonight, how many did he get? He got 1 steal tonight. He is absolutely getting at least 1 a game. And some nights you're seeing 2 or 3. So I have a lot of high hopes for him. Now, that said, the shooting does have to improve. It does, but he's a rookie. He is a rookie doing this. Don't forget that he is a rookie. This is crazy. Chris Paul averaged 7.8 assists per game his rookie year. And he started every single game. Isaiah Collier started since January 5th. It's crazy. All right, guys, we got to talk about Keyonte George. It's 2 games in a row where he's been absolutely electric, and it's a back end of a back-to-back. He was arguably, and I don't know if it's even arguable, I think he was just the best player on the floor tonight. He was amazing. 10 for 17 from the field, 5 for 8 from 3, 8 rebounds, 6 assists. He absolutely took the Jazz on his back and closed this out. He won the game. You know, you could argue it was like Walker Kessler on the defensive end and Keyonte George on the offensive end. He was awesome. And he's coming off the bench. And, you know, a lot of these players, you're looking at them like, how does this player fit in with a championship team? Like, where would Keyonte George fit on the Boston Celtics? I think he would be doing what he's doing now as an 8th man. Because when you're going to the championship, when you're going to the playoffs, you have to have basically like, what, an 8-man rotation. And then you've got to have some deep bench guys that you can bring in at times when necessary, usually guys that have some sort of specific skill set, whether it's like 3-point shooting, or we need some defense, or we need rebounding, whatever. But you usually have an 8-man core that you're going into the playoffs with. That's 3 subs, guard, forward, center, to replace your guys, and you're doing rotations with those guys, I think Key is absolutely a part of an 8-man rotation. Now, the defense has to get better for sure. He has to defend at a higher level. But he is playing, the last 2 games just showed how good he is offensively. This is bonkers stuff. 30 points, 6 assists, 8 rebounds. Come on. That is, remember when we were watching Gordon Hayward back in the day and just begging for him to average 20 points per game? And he puts up these 30-point games. It's pretty crazy stuff, guys. He is a special offensive player. If it keeps coming together, if he keeps staying consistent, and he keeps making good decisions. That's on 17 shots, and he also took 10 free throws, and he missed 5. He could have been even better. Typically, he's, an 80% free throw shooter? So kind of an outlier there that he didn't even shoot the ball from the free throw line very well tonight. But he takes free throws. He knows how to pass the ball. He's playing within the offense. Just awesome stuff, and he's getting better. And we need to appreciate it. Doggone it. Yeah, look, he's just under 80% right there, 79.4. Impressive stuff. He's up 3, and this is now he's playing off the bench. He is up 3 points per game. He is improved his field goal percentage. He's now in the 40s. Not perfect, but you know what? If he ups this by 1-2% every season over 7 seasons, all of a sudden he becomes pretty electric player. Why can't he be at 41% by the end of the season? And then maybe next year you're up by 2% again, and so on. And then if you're at least at 45%, that's elite level basketball, guys. He's in the 40s now. And the 3-point percentage is just a hair under 35. So if he can get that to 36, league average for good players, and then get to above 36, come on. This is the thing with Keyonte George, is he is a few percentages away from being elite, right? He's right there because he does everything. Floater game, passing, 3-point shot, whether it's pull-ups, catch and shoots. He drives to the basket. He scores the basket. He gets to the free throw line. I'm getting lightheaded. Key's got my mind blown here. You look at these things that Key is doing, and it's impressive stuff. It's impressive stuff. And he's right there. The percentages are right there. He is not far away from being one of the elite offensive players in the NBA. And so we just need to have patience, let him develop. It's coming along. But tonight he was absolutely the difference for Utah that won them the game. No question. No question. Let's see. Cody Williams. Guess what? We saw some signs. One of my favorite shots. In fact, let's do it. I want to see this because Cody Williams has taken a lot of crap. A lot of people saying a lot of things. But it was fourth quarter driving layup shot. Oh, this was the one right here. Third quarter, I think. This was game on the... Well, let's watch both of these. This is a driving floater shot. Look at this. Gets the ball. And this is look, close game. Tight stuff, good team, boom, love it. And then this is the fourth quarter. Look at this, Cody Williams with the ball, same thing, drive and score, baby! Yeah! That's game on the line against a good basketball team, scoring in the half-court offense. Boom! And then you consider the fact that he is long, he is tall, and he's athletic enough. You can see the defensive numbers. His D. LeBron advanced numbers are solid. I'm telling you, it's why we have to have patience. Patience is the key. I know it's rough to lose a lot of these games. It's hard to stay completely 100% interested in every single thing. But when you watch closely and you notice that these players things start to click, right? Here and there, you're seeing a little bit of this, a little bit of that. They're figuring out this. Oh, I can do that. He's figuring it out. And Utah, that was not a bust. He's not a bust, at least yet. But tonight showed you exactly what kind of player he can be if he is a successful NBA player. And I tell you what, that 3-point shot, the percentage is not good, but it's going to get better because it looks pretty decent. If he does the work this offseason, if he goes into this offseason and just works on his game, improves his shooting. There's no reason why Cody Williams can't be a part of that 8-man rotation, especially considering his defensive upside. The defensive upside with him is awesome. It's really awesome. And then, the fact 6'7", he's good sized. 6'7". So it's just hard to find guys that can defend that are 6'7" and that can shoot the ball. It's just hard to find them. It's rough to lose these games. It's rougher to win them. Absolutely. Agree. But, on nights like tonight when it's Cody Williams and Keyonte George and Collier and Kessler, it is what it is. If the young guys are going to win the game, that's what's going to happen. And that's what I think, me and Sven were doing the play-by-play today, and we talked about it and what I would do and what he would do this offseason. Sven, if he had his pick, if the Jazz win the lottery and get Cooper Flagg, he tries to go win now. For me, I clear the deck, and I would trade all our vets, including Lauri Markkanen, because I would just want to have a team of long defensive athletes that play both ends of the floor. I would love to see a team Hendricks, Walker Kessler, whether Keyonte George, I don't know if Keyonte George is in that starting unit, maybe, or maybe the guy you get with the Minnesota pick, or maybe it's, who knows, maybe, I don't know, but I would go young. Maybe it's a KJ Martin until you fill that spot with one other young star in the draft, and then you go and get free agents, then you go and make trades, and you fill in the gaps. That's what I would do. I guess let me know, what would you do? Would you guys go win now next season? Or would you do my plan of going trade the vets, trade all players over 3 years experience and go young and go for AJ DeBonsa and then try to win the following year? That's what I would do. Let's see. Johnny Juzang played. Filipowski continues to have nice numbers. 4 for 6 from the field. He gets 8 points in this one. Let's see. 3 assists. His passing is pretty impressive. Filipowski is a fun player. And honestly, he held up pretty darn well against Şengün. So I want to see more of Filipowski. I don't know why he doesn't get more minutes, but some of that is like we have John Collins playing and we have some of these other guys getting minutes. I'd love to see Filipowski get more of those minutes because I think he has some nice he has some really nice talent, and I think he was absolutely a steal in the second round, along with Collier in the late first. Just awesome, awesome steal. So I guess that's everything tonight, guys. Fun win for the Utah Jazz. Let's see. Let's start the music, and let's do our lottery thing. So things are getting a little scary. I don't want to win too many of these games because absolutely the Jazz need to get Cooper Flagg in a Jazz uniform, or Dylan Harper, or Ace Bailey. I have heard whispers that Utah is super high on Ace Bailey, that if Utah was at number 2, they might take Ace Bailey. Whispers, that's all they are. Never know. Well, who would you take at number 2, Dylan Harper or Ace Bailey? Hard to pass up on 6'10" with shot-making ability and good defense, probably. I guess we'll see. I need to watch some Rutgers replays because I need to see, like, what's that defense look like for Ace Bailey? Because if he's a good defender and he can shot make like that, it's not hard to see him becoming like a Jason Tatum. It's really not hard to see him turning into something like that. All right, guys, let's see here. Let's go to Tankathon. Let's refresh. I think we already did, but we'll just make sure. Utah sits at 3 right now. I would love to get Ace Bailey. I think Utah would be ecstatic to get Ace Bailey. Fun name too. All right. If the lottery was today, what would happen? Boom. Utah drops to 6. No, but they do end up with Trey Johnson, 6'6" sharpshooter from Texas. I guess you'll have to be happy with that. Trey Johnson would be really fun. I wish we could get someone like VJ Edgecombe. Jack Kusonis, some people love. I haven't watched enough, so I got to watch more. Some people really love Jack Kusonis. He's on Illinois. I think Illinois played Duke tonight, and I want to watch the highlights. All right, guys, thank you for being a part of the show. Let me pull this up. Oh, crud. It's things are getting interesting. The lottery is getting closer. Thank you for supporting the show, guys, and make sure you're logging in and reading SLC Dunk every day. All right, let's give a shout out to Cam Bam, thank you, ma'am. Ryan Edward Perry, the legend. Oh, wait, Cam Bam, thank you, ma'am. Cam Jin 3. Ryan Edward Perry, the legend. Dirty Jazz Car Wash Channel. I Believe in Steve Jazz Exile. Baby Elliot Madsen. See ya, Lex Slater. Christian House Money to Haas. Jordan the GOAT Bessrel. Austin R. Grant, editor extraordinaire, KG10 to TH5, the OG, and Petrico Kubo, the connoisseur. Oh boy, says KG10 to TH5. Absolutely. I'm not the biggest fan of Fallen to 6, but we'll see what happens. All right, guys, if you're new here, make sure you like the video, but more importantly, subscribe to the channel. If you'd like to join and support the channel, I truly appreciate it. Thank you again to Camchin3 for joining the All-Stars recently. Guys, I will talk to you next time.